Good evening, gardeners. It's Thursday, November 19th, and it is a chilly but beautiful sunny day here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina. And today I'm going to make one of the most important videos that I've ever made on my garden channel. This video today is geared towards all of the people out there that don't have a garden but have always wanted to start one, and for all of the gardeners out there that do have a garden but they just don't feel that they are successful at their craft. This video is geared for you. I am going to tell you the 5 things that has made me a successful gardener, and they are all easy things that you should apply universally to your gardening craft. And the very first thing that you need to know to be successful when it comes to gardening is the most universal law of gardening that exists, and that is to just do it. Just do it. If you want to become a gardener, you have to at some point make a decision, put a shovel in the ground, buy some seeds, buy some trees, and actually put them into the ground. But I've noticed over the years that so many people out there suffer from paralysis by analysis. Have you ever heard the phrase, "Don't let perfect be the enemy of good"? What that means is you spend so much time researching the perfect variety or so much time researching how to do something that you never actually take the time to go ahead and do it. You're so busy looking for the perfect blueberry variety that by the time you finally found something, they're out of stock for the spring. Or you're so busy looking for the best tomato or the best pepper or the best zucchini that by the time you go around to ordering seeds, the seed stores are either all out because it's too late, or it's too late in the season for you to actually start your seeds. At some point, you just need to jump in head first and say, you know what, this may not be the best plant, but darn it, I'm going to give it a shot and I'm going to grow it. And I do that every single year in my garden. For those of you who have followed this channel for a long time, you know that I moved into this property back in September of 2018, and this was a brand new house. Before then, there was nothing here. It was a wooded lot. So when I moved in late September 2018, I had absolutely nothing to deal with. But just look how far I've come because I've actually spent my time doing something. I moved in here with nothing in September 2018, not the best time to start a garden, but you know what? In October of 2018, I was here digging and building raised garden beds to try and grow winter crops and to have something here for me to start in the spring. It wasn't my dream garden, it wasn't my ideal scenario, but I couldn't do everything in one year, so I made sure to get off the pot and just do something so I'd have something for me in spring and summer. Then came the winter and I underwent a massive garden expansion. That was when I really wanted to go ahead and build my dream garden. And now I have this great product that is out in front of me. I have the trellises that I've always wanted for my tomatoes. I have extra bed space so I can rotate. But I did that by slowly chipping away at it for 2 years. I knew I wasn't going to get the perfect thing that I wanted right off the bat. And you know what? It's still not perfect now, but it's really close to what I always wanted, and I planned it out and I got to work. So please, if you've been thinking about buying that fruit tree, but you're just not sure if it's the right one for you, or buying those seeds, or turning over the earth to put in your first raised bed, but you just haven't for some reason, stop this video. Go order that fruit tree. Go order those seeds. If it's still light out, go put a shovel in the ground. Just start the process, because simply starting is going to lead to something. And leading to something is better than leading to nothing. So just go out and do it. The second tip that I want to give you to help you become a successful gardener is to start with simple annual vegetables. And the reason why you should start with vegetable gardening is because the seeds are really cheap. There is a huge margin for error when you're growing vegetables, and there is an immediate return on your investment. If you want to start gardening, but you begin by planting expensive grafted fruit trees, you're going to spend a lot of money up front for things that may not fruit for you for several years. And that may be discouraging for you. That may not give you the motivation to wait years for something expensive to come to fruition. With annual vegetables, it is a simple process. A packet of seed is usually only about $2, and there is a large margin of error when it comes to growing seeds because germination generally happens very quickly. So if you plant your seeds and 7 to 10 days later nothing comes up, no problem, just start all over again. So if you make a mistake, it's simple to correct that mistake. Also, when it comes to annual vegetables, most vegetables become edible after about 60 to 90 days after you start the seed and they germinate. So you can have things like cucumbers and zucchinis and tomatoes and peppers just a few months after you start that seed. So it gives you a really big push for motivation to get you going, because you're going to get that reward very quickly. The third tip that I want to give you to help you become a successful gardener is to adopt a perennial mindset. Now, I know I just told you to start with annual vegetables, and that is true, but while you are growing your annual vegetables, you should also be thinking about perennial things that you can grow. Things like herbs and fruit trees and asparagus, things like that you plant once and may take a couple of years to come to fruition, but then you only have to plant them once, and once they start producing, they are going to produce for decades, sometimes for the rest of your life and even beyond. So the really cool thing about growing fruit trees is you only have to make that initial investment, and you don't have to put nearly as much work into fruit trees once they get going as you do into annual vegetables. So while you're occupying yourself getting the immediate rewards of the vegetable garden, off to the side you have these much lower maintenance things that are just gaining age, and that's what I have going on here. I've only been in this location for a little over 2 years, so most of my fruit trees are not quite at the fruiting phase yet, but because I adopted a perennial mindset early and I purchased them and I didn't sit around thinking forever what's the best variety, I just went out and I got some stuff, I'm going to be eating off of these things really soon. Perhaps you've heard the phrase, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. And boy is that true, especially when it comes to fruit trees. Right here is my Owari Satsuma tree, and I purchased this in the middle of summer of 2018 while I was renting a home local to the area and waiting for my new house to be built. Now, I went out and I bought a fruit tree that I really wanted, even though I couldn't plant it yet, just because I wanted to have it so I could put it in ground as soon as I can and not delay. Last year was its first year in the ground. It was just a little tiny tree, and despite that, I got 4 fruits off of it its very first year in ground. Well, you won't... Oh, hey, buddy. Hey, Dale. How's my boy? Dale wants to say hi. Say hi to the camera, buddy. Anyway, my very first... buddy. Dale. Come on, buddy. Pardon the technical interruption, but Dale literally pulled my microphone off of me. Yes, last year was its first year in ground, and I got 4 Owari Satsumas off of it. But look at it now. I must have 50 to 100 Owari Satsumas on this tree that are starting to turn orange and will be dead ripe for me over the next couple of weeks. And that's only in its second year in ground. Is Owari the best Satsuma variety out there? Not necessarily. It depends on who you are, what your growing conditions are, when you want them to ripen, but that's not the point. The point is, I went ahead and I got something that worked for me, regardless if it was perfect or not. And now, a mere 2 years later, I'm going to have a bumper crop of Satsumas, and I'm only going to get more and more every single year. If you follow my channel, you know that I love figs. Well, can you believe that 2.5 years ago, I didn't own a single fig tree? Not one. And now we are 2.5 years later, and I have over 40 varieties of figs and close to 50 trees total when you factor in both my in-ground trees and my potted trees. So how did I accomplish this? I just went out and I bought figs. I knew that I lived in a tough climate for figs, but I had no idea what would do best here. So you know what? I'm just trialing them all. And through trialing, I found a ton of varieties that excel here. The fourth tip for garden success that I want to give you is to grow a variety of fruits and vegetables that mature at different points throughout the year. Too many people believe that gardening is a summer hobby, and that's just not true. There are a wide range of fruits and vegetables that can be grown for food and are harvestable in spring, summer, fall, and winter. For example, things like blueberries or strawberries or raspberries. They often have a spring crop for you to harvest throughout the spring. Then in early summer, you can harvest things like your traditional vegetables, your tomatoes, your cucumbers, your zucchini, your peppers. They are typically harvestable in June and July. Now we move to the back half of summer, August and September. That's my fig season. They are my favorite fruit on earth, but there are a tremendous number of things that are harvestable in the summer. Things like, say, peaches. Peaches are another popular thing that are harvestable in the summer here in the South. So research what does well in September and August in your climate. Then we move into the fall. Fall, we often think of the season winding down, but believe it or not, there are a lot of cold hardy fruits that can grow well all the way down to zone 5 that are harvestable all the way throughout November. A few things are pawpaws and persimmons, which are both native to the United States of America. You can also throw Asian persimmons in there. That's what I'm standing next to right here. Persimmons are one of the latest ripening fruits that you can grow. They're typically harvestable in October or November, some varieties even in December. They enjoy frost and actually help sweeten the fruit. So I'm growing one of these so I can have fresh fruit way late into the fall. Same thing with my pawpaw trees. I have some pawpaw trees that are growing in the back. Pawpaws are usually harvestable in early to late September, sometimes even into October. Again, very cold hardy. Now the winter rolls around. There are many greens and roots that do very well in the winter. Things like your ruffled lettuces, your kales, your brassicas, chard. They all do extremely well in cold temperatures. Same thing like with carrots and radishes. They can be hardy all the way to the single digits Fahrenheit because the soil actually protects the roots. There are a lot of things that you can grow well into December. And if you live in the South like me, you can grow them throughout the year. So there are ways that you can grow things all year round. You don't have to just be a summer gardener. You should be able to garden in many climates 365 days a year. And if you add things like little hoop houses that you can build cheaply, which I will link to above and show you how to make, as well as things like frost cloth and row covers, you can really extend your growing season even if you live in high latitudes. And the fifth and final piece of advice I want to give you to help you become a successful gardener is to always have goals looking forward to the future. You may think that my garden is very advanced here, and for most people it probably is, but even in my garden's advanced state, I still have goals. This winter, I'm going to set up drip irrigation and rain barrels. That's going to be my big project to help automate the system and make things even easier for me next season, so I don't have to spend as much time maintaining my garden and I can spend more time growing food. Now, maybe you're in the opposite situation that I'm in. Maybe you don't have very much land at all and you only have a little tiny space for a garden, and you're saying to me, well, it's nice because you have all this extra space, but I don't have any more room. Well, maybe you do only have the room for a small garden bed or a few perennial fruit trees or what have you. But I bet you that no matter what your infrastructure is, you could always do things to it to improve your situation. If you have a raised garden bed, maybe you can turn it into a hoop house. That way you can have winter protection with greenhouse film, and maybe you can take that greenhouse film off in the spring and summer and you can use it as bug protection by putting some agricultural fabric or some shade cloth or mesh over it. That could really make your life a lot easier. Maybe you can go out and you can get a rain barrel and set up some drip irrigation so you don't have to use your expensive house water anymore that has chlorine and fluoride into it that may affect your soil. You can use healthier, better rainwater for the cost of free, and you can automate your watering so you don't have to bend over and hurt your back carrying around watering cans or a hose anymore. There are always things you can do to improve your situation no matter what your situation is. So always look towards the future, always have some kind of small improvement plan, no matter how small that may be. And if you do that and you stay in that mindset, you'll always have something new to look forward to. And when you have a goal in front of you, something to look forward to, it excites you and it keeps you interested. And those are my 5 tips that can help you become a more successful gardener. And just remember, no matter what your garden situation is, big or small, just move forward, have those goals, and do it. Everyone, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it helpful, please make sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe for future updates and more videos like these. If you're curious about any of the things that I use in my garden, all of the products that I use are linked in my Amazon storefront in the video description. Thank you all again so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video. Dale, are you enjoying your carrot? Are you half rabbit now? You're half hound, half terrier, half rabbit. They're extra sweet this time of year, buddy.